Welcome to the colony, where we've got three generations of nerdy guys talking about stuff. Take it away, guys.
Hi, welcome to the colony. Today we're talking about our favorite moments and fights throughout our time in combat robotics.
Yeah.
Yeah. Corey, you have anything you want to start us off with?
I have a couple. Well, recently the most memorable would have been when Team Pandemonium took down Bots FC's emulsifier. It was a very collected effort between Ariel on one of the mini bots, Mike having Stag there,
Yeah,
and
this is gonna be I should chime in at the same time because that's gonna be one of mine too.
then just kind of having Kevin screaming in my ear, hit him, hit him. And then even Ashley was standing at cage side with us, kind of like, come on, come on. It was just so exciting. And it's something that will live forever in the back of my mind because prior to this, emulsifier has never been this version has never been knocked out at NHRL. So for me, that was a big accomplishment. I'm very excited to be able to have that go down in history, mind you, at finals too.
Oh yeah.
Um, do I wish that the match went a little differently? Maybe I got a couple of good hits on Mad with emulsifier. Yeah, I do. However, that's just how the cookie crumbled effectively, and so kind of went from there. Yeah, Mike, you wanna talk about that match with me?
Oh yeah, man, because I mean all of the everything around it, you know about everything that happened up in the pits and stuff, but I'll tell you, um the fact that, you know, just driving around and handling it and stopping emulsifier, okay, while you're getting yourself organized. And it was like that picture that you sent, that one. I want to send that out as like a Christmas card.
I don't know many robots that would stick their face into the front of a emulsifier and live to tell about it, let alone doing it willingly. So that's a big achievement in itself. And if it wasn't for the collective of you, me, and Ariel, I don't I don't I don't know how that would have played out, but everyone played a key part. And I know you weren't there, Mitch,
Yeah.
cage side, but weren't you watching it, I believe, with Johnny?
We had left the building at that point. Johnny was there. I was outside of the building. I was watching on stream though. I will say I was in the hotel, our like team's hotel room, and we had a lot of Johnny's extended family and family friends all huddled around my phone watching, cheering. Um, and I feel bad because there very well may have been people sleeping underneath or next to us, or whatever. I don't care. We screamed. It was genuinely one of the most exciting fights I've ever seen. We were just watching that. And what I'll say also is throughout your guys' whole team, everyone that was cage side with you, you guys had absolutely amazing reactions to how you won. Corey was pounding on the cage trying to get in. Michael was roaring. Ashley was doing her signature bouncing. Um, it was amazing. It was really great to see. And honestly, like Corey, you really deserved that kind of win because you put so much effort into that robot, so many iterations, and that thing is terrifying.
I just remember every time I watched the recap, I just remember the cameras looking over at the other team and it instantly pans around the corner. And the first thing you see, Mike's arm is in the air. He has that bear roar going towards the audience, like, yeah, let's get going. And it's nice. It almost seems like the camera pans down one at a time because then you see Kevin and then you see Ariel
Yeah.
behind him. And then you see me on the ground because I think I
that's
was
Oh yeah.
hitting
that's where
the
you go.
Lexian, and I think I missed at one point, and it's all the emotion, everything just set in, and I just
Yeah.
dropped to my butt. And
Well, the
Ashley
thing,
was there.
Yeah.
the thing
It
is,
was.
when those moments hit, and you get overtaken by joy or sadness or whatever, you're never sure exactly how you're going to act.
Yeah.
And I know what we did was huge, as a collective, and it was just amazing because everything just layered out right, and to be able to actually function well within a team to execute such a goal is
Absolutely.
amazing.
And
So
I remember talking to you, Mike. I was like, we have this plan. And Mike was like, if I get that shot, I'm taking it. And I said, you take it. We have nothing left to lose. Mike, go for it. And you did.
yeah, and it's funny because um like you said, Kevin was screaming and he's screaming. And I hear him go, Mike, don't do that. Mike, don't stop doing that. Don't stop doing it. It was hysterical. And I'm like, I'm
I'm
not
like
even
Kevin.
yeah, I'm not even sure at the moment, exactly what I was doing other than parking myself in front of a emulsifier. Now, if I took a moment to really think about it, no, I'm not
And
going to think about it.
to kind of paint the picture. So we're stand I mean, so the main doors, we're on the right side, they're on the left side. Emulsifier's back is to us. You
Yeah.
drove around Emulsifier. So at this point, you can't see the front of your robot because it's effectively covered by Emulsifier's shadow, effectively. So for you to pick the perfect each fork getting perfectly on each side of his frame and you not getting hit, like
One in a million.
someone was watching from above and said, Mike, we're going to guide you correctly. We're going to take the
I,
wheel.
I, for not a lot of people do know, I know Corey, you do. I think you do, Mitch, that my grandmother had passed away just prior, and I was all through the course of the event talking to her. And I was like, and just being like, hey, Graham, my buddy Corey and I made a promise to him and I need to carry it through. Help me out. And that was like, and how in hell, excuse my language, did emulsifier go flying back off from me and get hung up on the kick plate? Like, okay, no, this is
So
too surreal. Huh?
there's another angle. So what happened was his, I think it's his left side drive was bound up. So when he backed up, he gyroed. Uh, he took like a left turn because the right side was still working, and he gyroed over sideways, and it kind of did this somersault, and the disc hit the Lexan and threw it back. That's kind of what happened. So it's just miraculous that the chain of events happened.
Yeah, each one, each one.
Yeah. And then just to really quick touch on, I have two of my highlights, and then we'll move on to Mitch or Mike, whoever wants to take it on. My other favorite match of all time was Synthesis versus Booty Brigade. I feel like it kind of put me on the map as far as showing what the design of Synthesis can do, taking on Lynx, who's won the Golden Brat 2 years in a row, and Droopy effectively Lynx's counterpart, taking it the year before that, and just kind of being the last hurrah of this is the last time you'll ever really see two 3-pounders in the cage at the same time prior to finals. So it was a big moment for me. Definitely had a very similar feel, just putting it all in, kind of going in with this isn't I'm not supposed to win this match, but kind of giving it my all and coming out on top. Definitely Calvin and Tommy are no slumps. But going in, like I said, very similar feel to Emulsifier, just kind of David and Goliath. And
All I'm gonna say is, Corey, How many Golden Brett winners are left?
Not many.
Well, evidently, I'm the Titan killer, so I
Dragon
take
Slayer.
down the Dragon Slayer. So I take
Pick
down the
one.
dragons.
Or use them both.
So I already told JMO. I said, JMO, it's either you in line or I'm going for Slam Plan. But it's all in fun though. Anything in the sport, it has you can't take it too seriously. Yes,
Yeah.
I understand it's an investment, but at the end of the day, we're playing with toys. We're destroying our toys with each other. So I love the trash talk more just as much as anyone else. But at the end of the day, if my opponent's robot's down and he needs a hand, I'll definitely go and help him.
My
But go ahead, sorry.
my philosophy going into things has always been if something goes boom, whether it's me or them, I'm always happy.
Exactly.
For sure.
But those are my two favorite matches of all time. Fortunately and unfortunately, they were both my matches. There was like over the years, there were so many great matches that I can recap. Just those ones,
We just
they're
got a
so
half hour though.
near and
Yeah.
dear to my heart. Exactly. So, Mike or Mitch, whoever wants to take it on,
Why don't you
let him
take
have
it,
it.
Mitch?
All right. The first like kind of match, it's technically two matches, but they happen same event, same two robots. Similarly, Corey knows what I'm talking about. I'm this little kid with my little purple finger tech beater bar that I barely got working for the event. And I draw Jameson Go with Silent X, which Silent Spring, very similar to Silent X, built by the same guy, all um not quite the same robot, but very similar. I believe was ranked either number 1 or number 2 at the time. I was terrified. I thought I was going to come out with no robot. I ended up surviving. I didn't win either of those fights because it's a fingertech beater bar against Silent freaking X. But I ended up actually going to the judges both fights for full 3 minutes. Second time my robot was for the most part fully functional. And I think I learned more in those two fights alone than I did in any other matches that I've had, ones that I've won, ones that I've lost. Going up against an absolute titan like JMO, it was absolutely it was a great experience. And I also got to meet JMO, which is like always a plus. It was just overall such a great experience to go up against. Not quite as glamorous as, Corey with his dragon slaying, but it was just a really great. I loved it. Had a lot of fun, learned a lot. Probably wouldn't do it again, but
I think you're missing a key component. You're missing the you got to paint the picture. So you just fought Silent X. You're
yes.
you're coming back, and then you're like, okay, you you repaired it, you got the robot ready,
Yep.
and then you're like, oh hey, your next opponent, Silent X.
Yeah, it was. I was like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, back. So was it back to back, or was there someone
No.
in between?
So I had fought Orcus. Or first I had fought a deep cut from the Tufts fellows. Amazing folks. One in arguably the worst fight in combat robotics history. There was probably half a drive side in that entire fight. And I then proceeded to decapitate Orcus, which was a good little bit of revenge because Orcus was the first bot that I ever fought, and he beat me the first time, and I ended up shredding him the second time. And then I got Silent X again. I was like, okay, my day is probably over, but it might not be. And I'll say that the first fight I kind of got, toyed with a little. But the second fight, it was like it was pretty close. We were both hitting each other. There was obvious wear on my robot, but it was a good fight. And I'll also say I think this is a fight that I was not active, or I was not a participant in. I was not a competitor at this point. But watching first row, Dragon Princess versus Emulsifier. in December of 21. You could feel the heat coming out of the box. Emulsifier is, I mean, ripping this box of fire to shreds. But because for clarification, Dragon Princess is a flamethrower robot. And watching this massive vertical spinner, that at this point was considered unbeatable until a familiar fella went and shredded it. Tossing this this flaming box with a ruptured fuel tank spewing like butane everywhere. It was genuinely the most fun fight I think I've ever watched, just in terms of overall, flare and sparks and fire, and the most conventionally good robot fight, I guess I'd say.
Sweet. I actually have a few, and it's kind of weird because the ones that are stand out most to me for my own events or my own fights was like my first one from my first event. I know we talked about it, but I had a team called Wake and Bake. Oh, Alex and I'm scared because I'm on TV.
Alex and Angel.
Alex, an angel. Yeah, and I'm talking to them and I'm realizing who they were. All before the event, and so I was like, getting all freaked out. And then I just kind of said to myself, "Look, everybody's expecting that I'm going to lose. So if I lose, I win, and if I win, I really win." So like I was actually talking to them, and they were a couple of awesome dudes, and I told them that. And we were talking about the robots and stuff, and they're like, "Well, we kind of expect you to be a lifter and stuff." And I had no idea what I was doing. My drive was all wrong, and stacking both of their robots up in the corner was like just by pure accident. I'm like, "Oh, what am I doing? What am I?" And I was still doing like tank drive, and oh my god, nothing. And that was really cool. And one of the things that was really funny about that, I think Stag is the only person in NHRL or person robot that has a match versus a motif. Because they had, if you go back and watch the stream from September 22, my match was one of the first matches. And of course, you had Team Shredded on one side and all that. And I don't think the judges were awake yet. So, um, right after the match ended, they had to stall for time. So, oh my God, sorry, my cold is hitting me. What's your name? Oh my God, I am drawing blanks on name. Ashley came down and she was in her cow onesie, and Evan Arias was in his cow onesie, and they were all on stage stalling for time. And so there was so much time had been taken up because it was like the length of a match, that in the time stamping, it goes Stag versus Wake and Bake, Stag versus Cow motif. Sorry, kind of a long story there. The other one was going up against Lucas Burmeyer, I believe, and he had that killer horizontal. What was
Oh,
its name?
Sepio one.
Yes, Sepio won. Right. I'm having a good day. I'm getting some wins on matches and stuff like that. This is my first event. And I get into the match with him. And the first thing he says out of his mouth is, I have the only weapon here that can break your forks. I'm like, well, that's not a mind game at all. And I'm like, bring it on. That's exactly what I said to him. And that match went the full distance. It's a gory match. I knocked out his weapon. He knocked out my weapon. There was foam tire everywhere, and it was a pushing match. And that I had to go to the judges too, and I lost by a point. But hearing like the announcers stall for time and stuff and all this was kind of cool. They actually edited some stuff at HRL did because one of the announcers was like, oh, who's this nobody? That's not the image we're trying to portray here. You know, um, those were like a couple of real standouts matches versus the Red Hawk family. They owned me. Uh, and of course, the one that we've already spoke on, because there's so many real defining moments, I think, that came from driving mini bots for you, Corey, in the larger rings, which kind of, I guess, is a dubious honor. Like, oh, you're doing that? And why are you doing that? Do you know what can happen to your robot? Really bad things.
Yeah, not many 3-pounders want to effectively throw their 3-pounder in against another 12-pounder or even another 30-pounder. And we've with all of the matches that we've had, we've found that Stag doesn't really like to die so easily. So it
No.
kind of is a testament to the design that what can survive a 30 and a 12 is even more durable against a robot of its own size.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out soon enough, right?
Yeah.
Because looking forward to February.
Yeah, and to kind of feed off on you, Mitch, I think the same event that Emulsifier had fought Dragon Princess, I think it was the first ever debut of Nautilus. And I mean, outside of pictures, you don't know what it is. I just remember standing near the cage and this robot was stomping so hard you could feel it in your chest. Nautilus is a two-wheel drive. It's a shuffler, so it has cams in the back, and that's the way that it moves.
Yeah.
So it's effectively, I don't remember if it was 42 or 45 pounds at that time. I know Norwalk has changed their weight bonuses here and a couple times, but
I believe it
it
was
was
45.
effectively,
Or
yeah. So
no, this was not a Lloyd, I
no,
believe.
Nautiloid is the 3-pounder.
Or the 12. This was the 12, I believe.
No, they don't have a 12, Mitch.
That why am I blanking on this?
Because he also fought Emulsifier too.
Oh, okay.
But just seeing it, well, feeling it running across the cage. I mean, if you think about it, the hypotenuse of a 16 by 16, and it getting across pretty quickly too. It's terrifying, and I think
Mhm.
it was spinning 11 pound, 10 or 11 pounds in the disc. So
Yeah.
that's a big boy. Um, yeah, no, it's definitely there's been so many matches, and like Mike said, we only got 30 minutes, so we can't recap every single match.
Yeah.
It's cool to say that we've been a part of history when we've been at these events where, I mean, just look at finals, Emulsifier versus Warhard XXL, Warhard XXL breaching the cage, and
I
I
was
mean,
In a stellar fashion.
yeah. I was cage side for Warhard XXL and the Chonky fight. Or
oh, when they smashed the door.
yeah, so loud.
And for it to hit that hard and shear the bolts, I guess in at the end of the door, not even where it hit, that's a lot of power. And I mean, Warhard XXL is no joke.
Yeah.
John's definitely made a beast of a robot.
I mean, I gotta say, also one of my other favorites it was, I mean, kind of dubious Dutch oven when it like melted the whole arena.
Oh yeah, when it did Monkfish versus Dutch Oven is
Yeah, that
definitely a
was
major highlight.
yeah, that is like just crazy talk for a flamethrower.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for I think it's the only flamethrower that's actually melted the Lexan walls to the point where they warped.
Yeah.
Just absolutely insane.
I was watching the stream for that and I was like, huh. So I'm assuming flamethrowers aren't going to be allowed anymore.
Yeah.
I had
That
just made that assumption. Like, okay, they won. No more.
It was interesting that if you look at something like the All-Star events where Dutch Oven was so dominant, and then as the year went on, Alex had competed with it, it's almost like people were understanding the tricks of how to beat Dutch Oven. Like when Fun Size beat Dutch Oven at the teams event, that was an amazing thing. And then I believe Eruption, after it got torched one time by Dutch Oven, it had come back and it had beat him at, I believe, the teams event as well too.
Didn't they have a fuel change somewhere in between teams event and after? Because after the cage got torched, didn't they put in some extra protocols?
I think so, and I think
Yeah.
one of the cages they made the ceiling higher too. I think as a way to prevent
Yeah,
the ceiling from getting damaged.
from falling. Um,
But yeah, overall, I would say we all have definitely experienced some great moments. I mean, our careers are only just starting, per se.
Yeah.
I
yeah,
know Mitch will definitely have a lot of moments coming up that he may not know about yet. I know Mike is going to be putting in some work with
oh yeah.
all the Stags, and
Oh,
you better believe the Synthesai will be putting on shows.
for
Until
sure.
I beat it.
With an
It's not
antling.
it's not unbeatable. So all right, thank you guys for joining
Yeah.
us again, and
Yeah, yeah. Thanks, guys.
be sure to catch the next one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good night.
All
Good night.
right.